when did I first fall in love with acting and Shakespeare? That's a good question. I did a high school show for my friend who had wrote this play about pirates, aptly named Arg, A Pirate's Tale, and he wanted me to do it, and I did it, and I really enjoyed it, and since then it's just kind of been a cascading effect, just love to do it. With Shakespeare, I also came across it in high school, and I found I had a sort of a aptitude for the language. It was really interesting. It was like a puzzle to constantly try and figure out. And so I've consistently been working in a lot of Shakespeare shows since I graduated college. And it's a blast. It's a puzzle. It's an intellectual game to try and figure out exactly how to not only understand what's happening, but to relay that to an audience.
I first fell in love with acting my junior year in high school when my theater teacher was putting on Midsummer's Night Dream, and I was playing Mustard Seed. And that was kind of what gave me the theater bug, because after doing that one Shakespeare play, I thought, I really like this. And I, at first, didn't think I was going to be good at Shakespeare, because it can be difficult, work. But I found that I really liked it, and it was easy to memorize and understand, and it was just really fun to do.
How is Alchemy Theater unique? I think for me, it's the amount of space they give you as an artist. We don't have very grueling rehearsal processes, but I've been in a lot of shows where you're rehearsing 6 to 7 days a week, and it's exhausting, and you don't have time to really do the work, which is the text work, which is something you really need, especially with Shakespeare. So what I appreciate about Alchemy is they really trust their actors and their talent to come in and just be on their game. And that's something I've really appreciated about them. The story just always interested me. I was always very connected with it. I think my first real experience with R&J was reading it for the first time, and that's really what made me fall in love with it, was understanding the bigger picture as opposed to the stereotypes that we have in our culture put upon R&J.
The first time I ever saw a Romeo and Juliet production was probably, well, I never saw it on stage, but I did watch the original, not the Baz Luhrmann version, but the Zaffarelli, which was way back in the 70s, and I just loved the classic version, just the very traditional, very nice and well put together. And I thought it was amazing, and I thought it was really pretty and well done. And after that, it's always been kind of my dream to play Juliet. And so after I got the part for this production's version of it, I was just over the moon. It was really fun.
I think, first of all, it's because the stories and the ideas are, for the most part, I don't know if transcendence is the right word. They're relatable. I think they're relatable to anyone. We all suffer issues, for example, with Othello, the idea of jealousy. That central idea is, we all understand it. We all deal with it. With Romeo and Juliet, we all understand what it's like to be young and in love for that first time. But we also understand familial strife and having a sort of hatred for another group of people. So it's relatable, and it will continue to be relatable, and that's why Shakespeare has stuck around.
Romeo and Juliet, I feel like it's so iconic because it's what a lot of people can relate to. There's always going to be conflict in relationships, and I feel like that is a very universal feeling. Between a boy and a girl, or a girl and a girl, or a boy and a boy, there's always going to be something. And I feel like with relationships, there has to be conflict, or else it's not going to be worth fighting for.
This Shakespeare version, I think the first thing is that the original text is very, I would say maybe a little obtrusive towards women. With this text, what we've decided to do is put women at the forefront, and we've actually gender-bended a lot of the roles, which I think is great. Tybalt's being played by a woman. The role of Capulet and Lady Capulet is combined into one role, also played by a woman, which is usually played by a very domineering, angry, sort of misogynistic man. So it's interesting to have that perspective. Benvolio's played by a woman. We've added another character who is also Aberney, who is also a woman. It's really just not so much having men at the forefront of this play, but having women come in and let their voice be spoken as well.
For this version, they are trying to stick. It is very traditional in some ways, but there are aspects of it where they are trying to. Because at first they were going to switch the roles, like Romeo was going to be a girl and Juliet was going to be a boy. But they are taking a lot of the roles, like Tybalt, for instance, is going to be a girl, and so is Benvolio is going to be a girl, and they like to switch up the roles to get a new perspective on it and see it from a more modern version, I would say, showing a lot of girl power and showing that the more independent side of Juliet. She's going to be fencing and playing with a sword, and I just thought that sounded really cool, and getting to, she's a lover, but she's also a fighter, and I liked that. I enjoy working with the rest of the cast because it's just a very fun atmosphere, and they're very energetic. The director, Loralee, she is so nice, and she's so fun to be around, and I just feel really comfortable with her because she knows, because this is my second show doing Shakespeare, and she knows that, and she's very comfortable, and she's like, I know you got this, I trust you, I give you 100% of my support, and so I just want to see where you take this character on your own journey. And she's very nice, and she lets me do what I think is best for the character, and she sort of guides me along the way, and I think that's really nice.
We have a great cast, fun cast. Everyone is just so excited and so full of energy and so just ready to try things. It's a blast. All of our scenes, the first half of Romeo and Juliet is typically played as a comedy, and it is. It's big, it's boisterous, and it's fun, but we also have a cast who is dynamic. They don't just fall into the trap of the comedy of the play. They also are able to play the other side and the truth of the moments and the tragedy of the play.
I want the audience to understand the message of, any love is okay, and that sometimes there is conflict, but there's always a way to rise above, and that you shouldn't hold grudges forever, and that sometimes love is always stronger than hate. And that is seen clearly through the way that Romeo and Juliet can't stand to be, not be with each other, so they decide to choose love over siding with their families, and they take their own lives being together. And then the families realize that their hate has caused destruction for both of them.
I think, above all, I want them to see, on a larger scale, the damage that two warring people groups can cause on not just a large scale, but on a small scale to their own families and to their own friends and their own people, as well as, on a lighter note, to be embraceful of young love.
The audience really has to come see Alchemy's version of Romeo and Juliet, because I feel like this company's version of it is very unique and different from your usual Romeo and Juliet play, because you have different genders playing different roles, and it shows a much fresher and newer perspective to the whole story. And you can take from it your own perspective, you can see it from your own eyes and take something new out of it.
Because it's going to be a blast. They've probably only ever studied it in high school, and when you studied Romeo and Juliet in high school, you haven't I think, gained a true understanding of the play, of why it's a great, great play, why it's timeless, why it's a classic. Coming to our production, you will see a new interpretation of women at the forefront, but at the same time, you will see a play done in its classic setting. So you'll get the best of both worlds of a play done the way it was, originally done in that original setting, as well as a new take on it with women at the forefront.
Alchemy is on Facebook and we're on Instagram. We also have our website, so you can always go there, check out when the auditions are coming, our new shows. We're going to have tickets up for Romeo and Juliet and Cyrano, obviously, so you can get your tickets there. But follow us on Facebook. We have pictures from the cast, the rehearsals, everything. You can join our mailing list. You can just go on the website and go to our Contact Us and say, I'd like to join the mailing list. You can always go and contact us on the site and volunteer your services, whether you want to be a director, you want to be a designer, you want to be an usher, or you just want to find out ways that you can help support Alchemy. We're always happy to have more people around and join us. So Facebook, Instagram, and the website are the best ways to contact us.